Good morning, sis. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hope that you are doing well, feeling well, being well, all of those things. I shared yesterday that Sunday's message really stuck with me. And I've been in Luke 10 since Sunday. It's only Tuesday, but I've been in Luke 10 for quite some time. And actually, while the pastor's entire message really kind of hit home, there was one piece of a verse, not even the whole verse, y'all, but there was one piece of a verse in particular that stood out to me on Sunday. And I've just kind of been meditating over it. And I still am. And I want to share with you today at least the beginnings of this message. And this message, I think, can be taken many different ways. There are two ways in particular that is kind of uh, sinking in for me, but I want to talk about one way. And I'm prayerful that the Holy Spirit can guide me because I don't have all the words yet, but I know it's important for me to get this out, right? So the scripture before I jump in is Luke 10, verse 7. And in particular, and again, this is Jesus sending out the 72. But in verse 7, he says, he's talking about entering with peace. And go back and listen to yesterday because I kind of described that, like, those steps, right, to being a good disciple, if you will. And so he's talking about leading with peace. And he says, if you enter into a house, you should leave with peace. If there is no peace there, like, don't be discouraged, right? It says, remain in the same house, eating and drinking what they offer, for the worker is worthy of his wages. Don't move from house to house. And then it goes on to talk about entering a town and all of that. But the part that just like really stood to me on Sunday was the worker is worthy of his wages. And I just want to come on and say this, sis, you are worthy. I am worthy. We are worthy, right? We are worthy. I find that so many times being the strong friend or the strong person, or the one that everybody comes to, or the person who's always giving out and giving out and giving out, it's really hard sometimes for me to accept, right? As much as I've just been talking for the past couple weeks about how I'm not receiving from anyone else and I'm giving out all of this to everybody, but no one's pouring into me, I have to also be honest with myself in that it's hard for me to allow someone to pour into me. It's hard for me to ask and raise my hand when I need help. It's hard for me to accept help when it's offered. And this part about um, the worker is worthy of his wages. And again, I think the literal meaning of the worker being worthy of his wages is, obviously, we know that regardless of our strife, regardless of our struggle, God, the ultimate, is going to reward us in the end with his everlasting love and, life here forever. We know that that's the ultimate reward. We also know that we will get rewarded sometimes in the physical realm, right? With things that will further our mission, further the work that we're here to do, all of that. We know that. But I'm really taking this in kind of a different sense, and just kind of really honing in on the fact that we are worthy. And I feel like, as strong as sometimes we are, as strong as we have to be, as much as we give off this aura of like, we got it, we're good, we're equipped, sometimes we don't necessarily take in that we are worthy, right? We are worthy of receiving help. We are worthy um of good things. We are worthy of blessings, from other people. And I just shared how much God used other people to bless me over the past couple weeks. And I think the reason why it was such a surprising moment for me is because it's not something I expect. And I have taught myself, or had myself believe, that these things don't happen to me because people are bad, right? But sometimes I do believe that there is something I'm harboring inside that makes me believe that I'm not worthy of them. I'm not worthy of someone calling to check on me, right? Like, I'm immediately someone calling to check on me or making something about me, or, hey, sis, you did this really well. Like, oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Immediately, I am ready to make a joke, or turning it around on his head, giving God the glory, which he should get. But very rarely do I accept the well done from my peers, from my sisters, from my brothers. Very rarely do I fully accept it and say, thank you, right? I acknowledge that. I acknowledge you see me, and I thank you. And not to walk around, being prideful and feeling like we are deserving of things that maybe we are not deserving of, or, taking glory from God. But I think that it's important for us to acknowledge that we are worthy. The worker is worthy of his wages, right? We are working hard for the kingdom. We're putting in the work, we're doing all of the things. It's only natural that we should receive from it. So 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, we are worthy of the wages, right? We are the workers. We are in the field. We are putting in the work. We are doing all of the things, and it's only natural that God will reward us again, whether that be spiritual rewards or actual physical rewards in the natural. And we should be expectant of that. You know, part of living in God's kingdom, part of being an heir to His throne is us receiving from him and being blessed by him. And I just wanted to remind you of that. I just wanted to sit you down for a second and let you know, sis, you are worthy. You are worthy. Okay, the opportunities that are coming your way are not mere coincidences. The people who are being placed in your life, they're not there, just for fun. Those destiny helpers that are coming and they're offering to help you, allow them to help. Right, allow them. Be worthy of your wages. Just accept your wages. All right. When your paycheck comes, whenever however you get paid, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever that looks like for you, you accept it. You say, yeah, I worked these amount of hours, so I naturally receive this amount of pay. And it's the same thing here in the spiritual. You are working for God's kingdom, and the more that you work, the more work you put in, God is going to bless you. And it may not always come into the miraculous, money in your bank account or person on your doorstep or anything like that. It may come into, your brother or your sister stepping up to you and saying, good job, sis. Well, job well done. Or I have this for you. Don't block your blessings, which is something that I say all the time about everybody else. Don't block my blessings. So God told you to do something for me, please do it. God told you to tell me something, please say it. Don't block my blessings, right? Don't block them. And so I just, again, this idea of the worker being worthy of the wages, like I said, there's a couple of different ways in which I am interpreting this, but this way in particular today really stuck on my chest. And so if there is someone watching this video who needed to hear this message, sis, I hope that it blesses you. Please go ahead and continue reading Luke 10. There's a ton of goodness in here. And let me tell you, there's a couple of places where this idea of the worker being worthy of his wages is mentioned. Y'all know I've been doing my word study, which I'm not gonna bore y'all with, but wages in and of itself is one Greek word, and it's used three different ways in the New Testament. I believe in Matthew and a couple of times in Luke, but I want to give you a couple of other verses if you're interested in doing a deeper dive. So yeah, wages, this idea of the worker being worthy of his wages is also in Matthew 10:10, 1 Timothy 5:18, and 2 Peter 2:13. So go to Luke 10:7. I would read the whole Luke 10, 1 through 12 at the very least. And then if you want to take a deeper dive, you can go into those other verses as well, because we're working. And yes, we all know that ultimate goal at the end, but we are still here. And while we are here, God is also blessing us in many different ways. And we cannot block those blessings, y'all. We have to know we are worthy. We have to be expectant, okay, of those blessings. You have to be expectant of our wages, okay? You gotta be ready for them, and ready to accept them, but also ready to advocate for them, right? God says when you show up in this town, when you show up in this house, you go in there and they feed you, right? They're gonna feed you, they're gonna give you food, they're gonna give you drink. You be expectant of that, right? And you hold people accountable to that. And I think, and this is one of the other ways that I'm sure we'll talk about this week, which is in thinking about our relationships with people. Sometimes we go into relationship ready to just give. And while God is explaining what Jesus is explaining to the disciples, um, that they need to go out and spread the gospel, he's telling them what is also expectant of the people that they're going to meet with, right? And these are people who are not born again, right? They're not following Jesus yet. The disciples' job is to go ahead and tell them how to do that. But he still says when you show up, you go in their homes and they will feed you. And when you read, I believe the Matthew version of this, he talks about the importance of the people that we are supporting in supporting us, right? As we are going out in, like, actually literally working, right? We think about our pastors and all of our leaders within the church, depending on how your church is set up, whether or not they're taking a salary or they're taking a portion of the offering. Um, that is their wages. That is what is expected of the congregation, so that they can put their work into the field, right? So that they can spend their time studying, so that they can spend their time continuing to build themselves up spiritually, so that they can build up the church. At least that's what they're supposed to be doing, right? We understand that there is an undertaking that they are taking, that their families are taking on, and so the church supports them. And again, that's thinking about this literally as as actual wages, but also think about the work that you put into your evangelism. Think about the work that you put into serving, right? And what does it look like for you to take a break, right? In our church, we have a lot of older members of the congregation who have had to be everything to everyone. And now that we're getting more members, but younger, older, whatever, but now that we're getting more people who want to and have the ability to serve, we're having to, demonstrate the blessing that it is for some of those people, that old guard, kind of, to take a step back and rest and relax, right? You have earned that. That is your wage. You've worked so hard for this kingdom by yourself, and now you got helpers here. Don't take it as a we're sitting you down to just go off in the corner and wither away. But now you get to enjoy the fruit of your labor, right? You get to have these helpers who are now able to come in the kingdom. And so, again, not to take wages literally the entire time, but really think about the work that you're putting in. And are there things that you need to let go of? Are there things that do you need to be seated? Do you need to take a seat at the table and let someone else go ahead and run these things that have been driving you crazy for so long? I encourage you to look at your life, sis, because you are worthy. Okay, be expectant of your wages. Be expectant and hold people accountable. When you walk into their homes, they are to feed you. Okay, when you walk into that church, they are to feed you. You're there to serve, but they're to feed you as well. There's an even exchange. There's an even exchange. Even if your serving is up here and the food might be a little bit lower tier, but the food has to be there. That food has got to be there. You need to receive as you are putting out. You are worthy of receiving. And when people are trying to pour into you, sis, you cannot block them off. You can't be strong all the time. It's sometimes being strong is being able to accept it. Sometimes being strong is able to take that seat and say, you know what, today I'm sitting out, right? Because somebody else has got it. I am blessed with rest right now. So let me sit out. I'm not having to serve today. Or now I'm going to go serve in another capacity because someone else has taken on this piece over here, right? My wages have been received. So I'm going to stop talking you to death, stop lecturing you. But you heard me. And don't forget, this is for the workers. So if you ain't working, don't be expecting the wages, okay? Work hard, receive wages, and remember, you are worthy. You're worthy. Say it. You're worthy. Say, I'm worthy. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. All right, sis. I'm gonna go. I hope that this message blesses you. Please keep me in your prayers. I will keep you in mind. Let me know how I can pray for you by commenting down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.